We're now going to pivot a little bit and hear about the heart of giving back. How a nonprofit right in our backyard, front yard, middle of town, has been helping give back to our community. Francoise is going to be interviewing Millie Perez and Flordelisa Perez. I don't think that's correct. Wow, not sisters, who will be speaking more to the amazing efforts of the Latin American Youth Center and what they're currently doing amidst COVID-19. Francoise is from PwC and has been active in supporting their organization. I wanted to also comment on how important the LAYC, or Latin American Youth Center, is. If you look at our registration page, there's an entire tab dedicated to the organization. There are hyperlinks on how to donate and how to become involved. We certainly want to facilitate that to your access. I'm not sure how long the registration page will be up. So if you can go there and maybe access those and bookmark it. It was part of the reminder that was just sent to you earlier today. The LAYC has been really important to the immigrant community, not only Latinos, right? Everyone from all the world that comes here looking for a way to succeed and move ahead. From humble roots as a small organization and through grassroots perseverance, they have grown to provide many critical services to a challenged community, essential for life, essential for being able to work, essential for being able to dedicate yourself to forming a family and keeping them moving forward. Acknowledging their role in the community and honoring Flordelisa and Millie's long-term commitment today. Today, our local KPMG Hispanic Latino chapter just announced a donation of books for their after-school program locations in DC, PG County, and Montgomery County as part of KPMG's Foundation for Literacy campaign. So hopefully a bilingual set of books will help point the kids away from 24/7 TikTok viewing, which we all desperately need, and beyond that, an availability of becoming more capable in both languages, right? So with that said, Francoise, take it over. Thank you very much.
My name is Francoise Mugnano. I am a manager in PwC working with internal communications and change management. And I joined this group since the beginning brainstorming phase with Linda, Fernando, and other leaders that you've heard from in the past days. I'm excited to be here today as a Puerto Riqueña, as a lesbian, as part of the Latinx, and just hearing all the great speakers and leaders throughout our conference. All the efforts happening throughout our community are so important and are essential. We have to give them visibility. And we truly are stronger and more resilient together, as Cindy and Melissa mentioned in our previous panel. With that, I'm so pleased to be accompanied by two amazing ladies, also Puerto Riqueñas, that have been leading the forefront with efforts to help support our youth community with school supplies, food, and other very much needed resources during a time where uncertainty prevails with COVID. Gracias, Millie and Flordelisa, for joining me. Before we begin, could you quickly introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Flordelisa Perez Dolan, and I'm the Major Gifts Director at Latin American Youth Center. And I joined the organization last May, and I'm so happy to be here. And thank you, Fernando, for the warm welcome and KPMG's support with the donation of books. And I'm glad that we've been able to form a partnership with PricewaterhouseCoopers and get to know Francoise during these last few months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Millie Perez, and originally from Puerto Rico, and I've been with the organization a little bit longer than Flordelisa. We're not sisters, but I've been with the organization over 35 years. And not because I couldn't get a job somewhere else, it's because I believe in the mission so hardly. So I'm the special events, I'm not the special events manager anymore. I'm the corporate relations manager. So thank you for having us.
Yep, thank you so much for joining us. And this past couple of months, we've been talking about some of the great efforts that you guys have been doing, and just how you had to pivot into this whole virtual world with your school supplies, your back to school campaign, your delivering food to some of these people in need. And my first question really is, how do you do it?
Well, I joke that sometimes it's, wine and meditation and a balance of the two. But I really think this is about the Latino spirit. It's something that my family has imbued in me. You know, I'm also Puerto Riqueña, and just, you know, just fighting and believing and persevering and having that determination. And that's just, it's part of the LAYC culture. It's, you know, it's just part of who we are, and just persisting. We'll get angry, we'll be sad, we'll be frustrated. But at the end of the day, we think about our youth and their families and what they're going through during this time. You know, we're fortunate to have resources, but our youth and families are not. So it's how do we mobilize our team and our staff and our donors and partners to help meet their needs?
Yeah, most definitely. And can you tell me, when we were talking, you told me a little bit about the back to school campaign, how you got it started to be virtual, and some of the current food delivery efforts that you have. Could you tell us a little bit more about, you know, the program? How did that turn out? I think it's amazing, honestly, all the efforts you guys have done there.
Yeah. So before COVID and before moving everything to virtual, we were in person. We would have after school programming, tutoring and mentoring sessions taken to various sites. Like Fernando had mentioned earlier, you know, LAYC's been an anchor in the community for over 50 years. And we, you know, have programming in Columbia Heights. That's where, you know, LAYC first started. And we also have sites in Prince George's County and in Montgomery County. So we have, you know, programming that takes place in those sites and in partner sites. You know, we partner with schools. And so mental health sessions are taking place either in school or, you know, at our sites. You know, same thing with like GED, workforce classes. And then COVID happened. And so it's, you know, how do we adapt? And we adapted virtually. Zoom became our best friend, and Google Hangouts as well. And so it was just thinking through, like, how do we provide programming in a virtual setting? And so our staff are super creative, you know, and so they would have virtual field trips. Telemental health sessions, you know, became the new way that we provided mental health support and that took place via Zoom, via phone, because we found out that our youth sometimes just didn't feel comfortable sharing, you know, their story in a therapy session at home. And so this was an opportunity for them to go for a walk and have the therapy session at home. And so our staff has just adapted to do so much programming virtually. We also have a housing program where we have youth that live in independent facilities. And so that didn't close down. And so our case manager still kept in contact with them, visiting them, dropping off laptops for them, food, because those were needs that they had. And so as our work progressed, you know, here we are, summer nearing fall, and we're now thinking about, you know, our back to school efforts and what are the needs of our youth during this time. And so knowing, or knowing much later, you know, in August that schools were going to be virtual, we knew that our youth needed to be equipped with pens and pencils and binders, right? You know, they still need to learn, they still need all those tools in a virtual setting. And so we reached out to our staff to figure out what are their needs, and let's figure out ways to meet these needs. And so we turned to our donor database, you know, to our donor base, to social media, and then looking at our corporate partners and how can we activate our corporate partners in a way to help meet this need. And so we know through this conference and through, you know, PwC's partnership, word got out through, you know, through this opportunity. We also worked with OLA's Capital One group. They helped to mobilize the OLA group and other departments within Capital One to help meet the need. And then we developed a new partnership with the local Chase banks here and their Latino Surge group called Adelante. It takes a village, right? And so that's how, you know, through those partnerships is how we were able to meet the needs through the Back to School campaign.
That's amazing. I heard from you some of the great feedback and of all the great work that you did for the Back to School campaign. Can you tell us some stories from like students who personally shared some feedback? I think it's great, and we do have a video that we'll show in a couple of minutes. But I just figured it's always impactful to hear from them on some of, especially when you say back to school, the supplies that they need. Even I remember seeing on the list some like antibacterial or like face masks or other supplies that are not always needed, but now considered somewhat essential. So I think it was very creative the way you pivoted quickly and just seeing how you were able to manage this program virtually, and not only the back to school, but the delivery, food delivery, the housing meetings, and doing everything virtual. I think it's great to be so agile. But if you have any stories to share, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, our youth have shown their just been appreciative of helping to meet, the needs. And the back to school supplies were incorporated as part of the food distribution efforts, which we have that we've had going on since early on in the shutdown, because we learned that the needs of, in addition to the program and services that we provide, the pandemic, just exacerbated the ongoing needs of the community. And so food was something that was expressed as a need, help with rental assistance. The families that we serve work in the hospitality industry, and we know that that was affected. So many people lost jobs, or they got sick with COVID. We learned of a middle school youth who was taking care of her younger siblings because both of her parents had COVID. And so she had her parents quarantined, and then she was taking care of her siblings, helping to meet, the needs of the family, cooking food. The youth didn't take a shower because she was afraid that her younger siblings would go to the parents, and then that would increase exposure. And then the youth couldn't then log on virtually to continue her learning. So she's playing mom, dad, chef, trying to keep her family safe. And so she was able to connect with LAYC, and she was paired with a mental health therapist to help her cope with all this trauma that she's facing.
And of course, that youth was missing school, which was more important because this was, back when we first started going virtual. And we needed to make sure that we were able to get in there, get them food, and also help her be able to connect to do her schoolwork, and talk to the people at the schools also.
And Millie is often in contact with youth. Like she mentioned, she's been with LAYC for over 30 years. Many youth turn to her as a mentor, and trust her. And so Millie's got many stories, or she may have another one that she can share as well.
Yeah, well, first of all, when you started off by saying, how do we do it? This is how I do it. I know that God won't give me anything that I can't handle, right? But I just wish he wouldn't trust me with so much, right, through this pandemic. We have a fabulous leader that has really, we closed the youth center on a Thursday, and Friday we were moving to see how we were going to keep serving the youth and the families. So that's important too. Our leadership has just really kept us going and focused on what we need to do. And we're thankful for that, to have a leader like that. And what I was going to say is, when you have youth, her command was, you need to get in touch with all the youth that you serve. You need to call them. You need to see what their needs are. You need to see, stay connected to them. Find out, there are families that aren't going to tell you. Our Hispanic families, our Latinos families, we're very prideful too. We try to make ends meet ourselves. We don't want to take handouts and things like that. So, there was a father that was called, and, I'm fine, we're fine. Then the third call, by the third call, he said, you know what, I really need help. I really need help. There was, mothers who were calling us and saying, I'm using my cell phone for one of my kids because I have two kids going to the same school, and the school only gave out one laptop. right? So, and they both have classes at the same time. So how do you balance that? So we had to make sure we got that mom real quick another laptop. So, with the youth, I feel we're full speed ahead with them. When I get a call from a youth and they say to me, I need one of your 30-second hugs, because we have a rule. I have a rule at the youth center. Hugs are important. They heal, and when they stop by, and for a youth to call me and say, I miss your 30-second hugs, it just means the world. It just means that we're doing the right thing, that we're there for them. Thank you so much. When we deliver the food and when we deliver the school supplies, that was given out, normally we have, with that event, we have a haircut thing, where everybody could come and get a free haircut. And we partner with all these barbers that are just fantastic. And this year we weren't able to do it, but they still need supplies. You have to remember that some of our families are living a big group in a small apartment. So our young people have trouble connecting, and having any privacy to do the school or having privacy to even be on a mental health call. So they have to go out for a walk, maybe on their phone, and have the mental health call with their counselor, like that. It means a lot to be able to partner with people like you guys, PWC, the thing that we just got from KPMG about the books, Capital One has been a wonderful partner to us. I mean, and I love to hear this Unidos Somos Más, because I know we are so many Latinos, but we need your support at the youth center. We really do. We need mentors. We need volunteers. We need tutors. I was on a call earlier today. The problem is that in order to get involved with our organization, you do have to have a clearance, a clearance test to make sure that, you're clear to be able to work with our youth and our kids. But it does mean a lot that we're still able to provide. We had over 200 youth this summer. I think some of you might have been at our Youth Expo. And, it was amazing to see the work that we're doing virtually. So if that says anything, can you imagine what we do when we're live in person? I wish I could, I get a lot of calls from volunteers saying, can we do something virtually? And I say, God, I wish we were live, because I would be hosting you every week at the youth center, So I'll let Flordelisa continue. But as you can see, I'm very passionate about the work that is done at the Latin American Youth Center. I think if we can change one kid at a time, it's making a difference. I want Sydney, I'm sorry, I met her today on this call, and I need her because I think she needs to come and speak to our youth. Oh my God, that history lesson, I learned a lot in it. So I want her to come talk to our youth. So, yeah, go ahead, Flor.
The only thing I would add is I agree about Cindy, as she mentioned, we were on an equity task force, and I remember at the first meeting, and she, was mentioning court cases and this civil case, and I just was copying all the links because I thought I have so much more learning to do. So I've appreciated just learning from her, and in that setting. So I'm glad she was a part of this, conversation too.
And you know what? I feel like we all need that 30-second hug. I don't know. it's just been a hard adjustment in general, and I can't even imagine the things that those kids are going through. So we do have the video. I think we might have time for the video, so we can just share that with the recap, just about some of the youth that were impacted and all the great work that you guys are doing. But with that, I do have one more question, and how can people, and I know you talked a little bit about it, Millie, but how can people like me or people who are in this call get involved in some of the efforts? Like if I want to be a mentor, if I want to help with the food delivery, what are some of the things I can do?
Oh my God, there's just so many different ways to be able to get involved with the center. I just, right now, we just got a new program in Prince George's County for housing. where we're going to be able to house, it's 7 apartments, and each apartment's going to house 2 kids. And it's for homeless youth. And we're trying to figure out how we're going to get everything for those 7 apartments. You know, a company can adopt an apartment maybe, you know, and make it possible for 2 homeless youth to have, you know, the basic needs met. You know, there's, we have a list. There's going to be a greetings to meetings on November the 18th, which is where our Prince George's County Workforce Program holds like a networking event where we like to have young professionals come out. So that would be great if some of you could join to that so that young people can see people like them that are professionals. You know, it's important to see people that look like you, and then you want to continue and to be able to talk. And so it'll be young people and it'll be young professionals bringing them together to do a networking session. And that's, I can send the invite to everybody. It would be November the 18th, so I can give it to Fernando, and he can make sure that it's given out to everybody who attended this. That's a great way of doing it. It's through Zoom, and it's going to be with youth 16 to 24, so it's with our older youth, right? We have Thanksgiving coming up. You know, I don't want to just ask for stuff, but Thanksgiving coming up, and up to date right now, my request, it's only October 23rd, and I need, at this point, 361 turkeys. That's just from one site, not including my Prince George's site, that's doing food deliveries to over 500 families when they do the food deliveries. So trust me, the need for turkeys, the need for food is there because we've been giving it out all through the summer and we're running out of our resources. Even the food bank supply is low. So we get a lot of stuff from the food bank, but not enough. I would love to see mentors. We need some, but you have to go through the clearance. Flordelisa, do you want to add something else?
The only thing I would add is also following us on social media.
Yes.
As a way, you know, just to stay connected with the latest news. And the slide up there shows that we're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. So make sure that you also stay connected with us. And then our emails are up there. So take a screenshot and, you know, connect either one of us.
Please follow us. Please follow us. That's the goal that we have. We're trying to up our numbers. That way we can get the word out about everything that we're doing. Please follow us. And also, if you are interested in the Latin American Youth Center, subscribe to our news. You know, subscribe to get updated news. That way you'll be in our constant content and we will be able to send you stuff. But, you know, we follow the law of constant content. So you have to subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, then I can't just send it to you because then they follow my numbers. You see what I'm saying? You guys get it.
Yeah.
Hey, yo soy calle. Ustedes, what you see is what you get. So, you know, we need your support. We need you to follow us and just, you know, show up for our kids. Show up for our kids, whether it's virtual or in person.
Thank you, Flordelisa and Millie, so much for joining us today and just talking about your programs. I hope everybody in the call today is, you know, excited to become a mentor and just help in any way they can, subscribe to the newsletter, and just stay involved as much as they can with our community, because really it's all about together. You know, we're stronger together. Unidos somos más. But thank you again so much for being here. Okay.
Yes, and thank you, Francoise, for leading us through that and bringing out all this great, highlighting all these achievements, and Flordelisa and Millie for your perseverance, for sharing with us how the Latin American Youth Center is really a critical player in our community, even providing life-saving subsistence support during these trying times. So it's a fantastic org. It's helped a lot of my family members. You know, I tear up when I think about the way that our community has forged ahead. Fantastic org, which I hope all of our member BRGs can increase involvement with, right? We've got the contacts here. You've got the people, you know what they do. They have videos and snapshots of all their impact that they're doing that they can share with you for business cases. This isn't hard. It's something that we can all really push forward. So thank you again.